However, I also do realize that nepotism doesn't have to be a terrible concept. It can be quite admirable.
So the nepotism thing isn't just beneficial to the people who happen to land these jobs through perhaps no real skill of their own. It's also beneficial to the people who then don't really have to worry about paying them competitively.
Today we're going to discuss a term that some of you may already know, the term Nepo baby. If you happen to be unaware of nepotism babies, or Nepo for short, it is a term used to describe artists or entertainers who have been able to get their foot in the door and receive opportunities because of rich or famous parents and connections, and not because of their talent. There have obviously been people that don't care for nepotism babies, and they loathe the idea that these industry plants can just be plugged and dropped out of nowhere and take jobs and opportunities from more talented and deserving artists. Nepotism is defined as the practice among those with power or influence of favoring relatives or friends. We normally think of it as negative, but is it really? It's the implication being that they are successful because they have inside access to the industry, and the idea that becoming a successful artist has very little to do with pure talent. More so, having a family with money and or connections is a gigantic leg up over everyone else. But it's not just musicians, it's everyone in the creative world. Many creators on this platform and on TikTok have put out content pointing out all of the artists and celebrities that have rose to the top by virtue of their connections in their respective industries. Many believe that nepotism far outweighs just about everything else in society, but especially in luxury industries like entertainment. And very rarely do artists who do not have the luxury of connections or the luxury of time to actually develop their art rise to the top. Certainly, the music and entertainment industries are riddled with individuals who have taken advantage of their access to resources, and many fear that one day the creation of art will only be reserved for the wealthy. Surely, whoever is aware of this topic may have their opinions on whether these individuals deserve the success and position they are in, or if these individuals are placed in front of our eyes as a way to promote the agenda of the system. I understand the discussion we need to have about nepotism and who may benefit from it, but in my opinion, I don't think any singular person should be at fault more than the system itself. And a lot of nepotism babies saying they work too hard to deserve such criticism. I also understand that by reinforcing the notion of nepotism and favoritism and a lack of fairness and diversity, these things will continue to persist, which may happen irrespective of how we feel, as long as we are participants within a system that we surely helped build, but none of us own. But I still cannot deny that it places more pressure and unrealistic standards on artists and creatives that do not have any connections and support and or time required to develop.
I looked at it like, okay, it's not happening. Every time it comes to me, is always something. That weight.
Because we live in a capitalistic society where productivity and money takes precedence over artistic merit, integrity, and artist development, it's inherently become a war on creativity, and people just chalk it up to regular music business practices. In other words, nobody will care about your art unless it's profitable. But what about all the operating costs it takes to make this art? Relying on your creativity solely to make a living is very challenging. The time to dedicate to your craft, the 10 to 12 hours a day while written bills are due, the amount of financial debt you accrue trying to invest into yourself when no one will, the lack of access to time and industry connections, it all becomes a daunting feat. Not to mention all the gatekeeping that's involved, from image to the type of content and music we choose to produce, down to even our age. And with the absence of meritocracy, freedom of any sort becomes the most expensive cost. And these are all very real and challenging aspects that artists face. However, I also do realize that nepotism doesn't have to be a terrible concept. It can be quite admirable, especially when the beneficiaries of said nepotism go on to become extremely impactful and influential. Let's start off with Miley Cyrus, who is obviously the daughter of Billie Cyrus, popular culture icon, recording artist, my achy breaky heart, needless I say more. And while researching for this video, I learned that she's also the goddaughter of Dolly Parton. Didn't know that. So there's no denying her ties and her lineage to notable record-breaking artists and popular culture icons that have instilled her with the knowledge and the opportunity to have a successful career. Not to say that they're 100% responsible for Miley Cyrus's success. She still had to put the work in. Let's talk about the work. Multiple number ones, multiple popular culture moments that she's responsible of, strong voice, strong stage presence. According to chart data, it has spent a total of 20 weeks on a Billboard Hot 100, currently at number 3 at the time of this recording and has been the peak of #1 for 8 weeks. That was the top peak. In these cases, having access does not mean devoid of talent. These people just happen to have a slight edge, but they still had to put the work in.
And every woman is a goddess.
Being the icon, the image icon, and the talented individual that she is. I like the previous stuff that she was doing, but like I feel like after this album, I feel like she could really do some great things. So. And since bursting onto the scene in 2010, she has been very influential and been cited as one of the artists that is spearheading the current pop punk era. There's no denying that her parents are stakeholders. And even if they aren't musicians, they have some knowledge about investing and everything that I think will be transferable and helpful and useful into building wealth and building knowledge to have a sustainable career in the music industry. But if we were to talk about her talent, I'd be here all day. But I can discuss a few accomplishments. 9 top 10 peaks, 11 top 20 peaks, 11 top 40 peaks. The first artist to have 7 albums each sell at least 500,000 units in 1 week. 46 million album certifications, RIAA only. And she's clearly going to be one of the greatest songwriters to ever live. This isn't to discredit her, but she is also a nepotism baby. We also have Zoe Kravitz, daughter of actress Lisa Bonet, and also rock star Lenny Kravitz, a musician in her own right, talented actress, definitely a nepotism baby, and she kind of rubbed people the wrong way and reminded us of why some people have a sour taste in their mouth when it comes to nepotism. She basically said that there's no denying that she's received this inheritance in her family name, but why should we make a fuss about it? Just because it's the entertainment industry. And her and other nepotism babies that would say, you know, you wouldn't make a fuss about it if it was a different industry. How come it's just the entertainment industry where we have to feel bad about taking on the family name and taking on a family trade and the family business? While Zoe Kravitz isn't wrong, it's a little tone deaf considering it is very hard for talented artists to break through if they do not have access or connections. Just a little tone deaf and lacking some awareness, which I will get into why lacking awareness is so off-putting when it comes to nepotism babies. Also on this list, we have Alex Isley. She's a singer-songwriter who is tied to the famous, accomplished, and esteemed Isley brothers. Not to take anything away from her talent, beautiful singer-songwriter, beautiful harmonies, melodies. She has that type of voice that will sing all your worries and troubles away. She's been featured on some of my favorite R&B projects within the last 3 to 5 year period. Loved her on that Lucky Day project. But there's no denying that she could have learned a thing or two from such a talented and esteemed family that could have instilled her with the knowledge that could possibly, possibly have helped her go on to have a fruitful career in this music industry. Also on this list, we have songwriter, singer, Matt Keane, who might be the least notable on this list, but talented nonetheless, who has ties to very rich and affluent family members. In these cases, having access does not mean devoid of talent. These people just happen to have a slight edge, but they still had to put the work in. O'Shea Jackson, who is son of rap icon Ice Cube, said that my dad told me in a perfect world I would play him in Straight Outta Compton. I already was in college in screenwriting at USC. I accepted the challenge and auditioned for 2 years before getting the role. After that, it was up to me. He couldn't hold my hand through my career. I had to get my ass up and make it work. From the roles I chose, the work ethic I put into them, my professionalism on sets and promo tours, even leaving his agency and going to find a team of my own, once the door was open, it was up to me to walk through it and thrive. What are some of the disadvantages? Earlier in this video, I mentioned the negatives of nepotism, and I'm sure the effects of it can be harder to stomach if the person in question, who is clearly a byproduct of nepotism, comes across as entitled. And there's nothing worse than a Nepo baby who is entitled, but also lacks the self-awareness. One that lacks the awareness of how they benefit from the structure and thinks because somehow how they've been positioned to achieve their success is irrelevant and that everyone else should be able to succeed because they did, completely overlooking the access to opportunity and support. Or somehow because life isn't fair, said Nepo baby is undeserving of this criticism, which therefore means that there isn't a problem with the system and only a problem with the individual, and that just isn't reality. Kind of like how a billionaire tells us that we all have the same 24 hours and how that somehow any of us spending $8 on this occasional latte is the reason I can't achieve financial freedom. Yeah, sure, that's the reason, bucko. But on the other hand, to be a Beyonce and pass those opportunities to her daughter, or a Diddy and pass those opportunities on, or as previously mentioned, Will and Jada Pinkett Smith passing those opportunities on to their children, there's a silver lining in the nepotism baby concept. Obviously, stressing the importance of work ethic and merit would be ideal as a parent, but ensuring your kids have the best opportunity possible to live life as free as they need to is a concept I will always support. I do not believe in forcing the next generation to struggle if you've already paved the way for them to have a successful career or a fruitful lifestyle. And if done right, these beneficiaries of nepotism can use these opportunities that they were blessed with and help other deserving artists and creatives get their foot in the door. So, I don't think nepotism is all that bad all the time. But you let me know in the comment box. Stilo as always. Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy Stilo. I and the team have just created a Discord server, and we would love for you to join. Now, if you're a content creator watching me, a YouTuber, streamer, podcaster, this is a place for you. If you're just a general music fan, you want to have hot takes, debates, send memes, be around friends and like-minded individuals, this is the place for you. If you're a songwriter, engineer, producer, you're an artist, this is the place for you. You're looking to get your music heard, this is the place for you. If you're a future music industry professional making power plays, connecting people, you want to find an artist, you want to find a gem, this is the place for you. A&Rs, future digital marketers, future graphic designers, photographers, creatives, as well as business professionals. We are all in one community, and we would love to have you. If this is something you're interested in, the link is in the description box below, as well as the pinned comment. We will see you there. Now, enjoy the video.